Hello everyone and welcome back into another Genshin input video. Today we'll have a look at the new 2.6 Abyss, and a lot of things have changed since last time. And now it's back to the more CC kind of Abyss. I want to talk about the Blessing of the Abyssal Moon, since it's actually pretty good. Basically, whenever you do a normal attack on an enemy, and this has no cooldowns, you can do that on every enemy, you're going to apply this Mark of Ending that after 10 seconds will explode, dealing 2 damage to that enemy. And you can upgrade the damage of this particular mark up to 9 times, and since it's true damage, it will ignore defense and elemental resistances. So it's just a ton of damage that you get for free. Okay, let's now move on to the new Florr 11 and 12. So yeah, let's have a look at Florr 11. First of all, Leyline Disorder, 75% more Anemo damage. That's just amazing. If you have any Anemo user, that's just more damage for them. In Chamber 1, it's going to be, first of all, defense. So you have to defend a target. And yeah, the first chamber, first half, is basically just healers. It's easy to group them since they are kind of close to each other. And you shouldn't have any troubles with this first half, especially if you're using like Geoconstructs to block the arrows, because they are easy to block, nothing crazy. Or if you're using Venti, Kazuha, or even Anemo Traveler can group up those enemies because they are, again, not that far away from each other. And in second half, it's basically the same, just a lot of small enemies that you can pull. And in this second half, I suggest that you stay away from the defense target, because if these guys throw the grenades at the target, they can still do damage over time. In Chamber 2 and 3, we'll have to just kill the enemies before the timers reach 300 seconds to get 3-star in Chamber 2 and 420 seconds in Chamber 3. In the first half of Chamber 2, we'll have to fight a lot of Pyro enemies and a couple of Electro ones, as well as a Cryo Gunner Legionnaire. I suggest you bring a Hydro DPS in this first half, especially to deal with the Pyro's Linger and the Abyss Mage Shield, because those are very annoying to deal with. And for second half, I suggest you to bring at least a Cryo unit to freeze these guys and this guy over here, and to deal with the Electro Shield of the Electro Hammer Vanguard. For Chamber 3, it's actually probably the easiest one. The only thing is that you have to kill them a lot quicker. As for first half, Electro damage is nice, of course, because you can deal with the Rifttown Whelps a lot quicker, since they get weaker to Electro, and the Photo Pyro Agent takes just a lot of damage anyway. In second half, if you have a physical DPS, that's great. And if you want to use your Geo characters, this is actually another great option, because you can fight the Rockfound Whelps with Geo, and they get weaker to Geo the more you attack them with Geo. And yeah, the Mirror Maiden is probably the most annoying here, because she's very tanky. I usually start with a more free-to-play approach for Florr 11, so that's why I'm going to use more 4 stars, and probably the weakest ones I have. And the teams that I want to suggest for this first half and second half are, well, nothing really difficult to get, I'd say. And that's just basically the easiest one you can use, for sure. It's using Xiangling, Xingqiu, Sucrose, and Bennett. This is actually a very fun team to play, and it's actually really strong. Also has a lot of AoE potential, thanks to Sucrose, her ultimate and her elemental skills, as well as Xiangling, Pyronado, and Xingqiu's swords. And we also have Bennett, just to get even more damage out of this team. So yeah, this is one of the teams you can use. If you have Kazuha, you can replace Sucrose for Kazuha, that's completely fine. It's just gonna perform even better. And for second half, you really want a Cryo unit, and the one that I am most comfortable with is Rosaria, since she has very low cooldowns on her abilities, and her ultimate can deal just tons and tons of damage, so that's always very nice. If you have Ayaka, that's just even better. It's just basically an upgrade from Rosaria. I'm not going to use Venti, just because I don't want to use him, because a lot of people don't have him. I'm also going to bring a Hydro character. I'm going to use Mona, because I just want to see if she can actually deal with some of the enemies. And I'm also going to use the Geo Traveler. Having Geo Traveler, I can deal a little bit more damage on the Rift Hounds in the second half of Chamber 3. And my healer is going to be Diona, since having 2 Cryo gives me Elemental Resonance Shattering Ice, and that just gives me more crit rate against enemies that are frozen or affected by Cryo. So yeah, let's have a look at these two teams. As always, when you're doing Abyss, you just want to pick the best card you have. and the blue ones last for the entire floor, while the gray ones, the white ones, they only last for the chamber you're in. If I pick this one, it's going to last only for chamber 1 and doesn't work in chamber 2 or 3, while this one will last for the entire floor. Let's have a look at the enemies now. As you can see, it's all villagers. The one with the club will focus on the target a lot, and also the bombardier here will also focus on the target. The only annoying guy is this one over here that will throw those tornadoes around, and they can also deal damage to the tower. Yeah, you just want to group all of them with one simple swoop from Sucrose or Kazuha, doesn't really matter. You can go like this, group all of them, and then just throw your damage. Also, they will not swap focus out of the target if you're dealing damage to the target, so keep an eye on that. And yeah, now it's time to get some archer kills, but they are also very annoying. Also now I'm going to take some damage, because these axe villagers will attack the target. But, I mean, it's still over 90% and I'm almost done with the enemies. You should be done too, as well, if you're using this kind of team. Yeah, nothing really difficult. And for the second half, again, I just want to freeze enemies and use my Geoburst on the Traveler to get rid of the Potioneers. So yeah, this is the Potioneers. As you can see, they are already ready to shoot their annoying little bombs. And what you can do is put down the Geo Constructs or the Traveler, and those will just deal lots of damage, first of all, if you've invested in the Traveler, as well as blocking those annoying potions. And as always, freezing enemies is the best option to crowd control them easily. Now, yeah, that guy is going to be annoying because he can deal so much damage to the target. Okay, and a quick reset later. Here we are. I will not talk too much because this is going to be annoying by using this team only. Mona can actually crowd control all the enemies around me, so that's what I'm going to do as soon as possible when I start the round. So yeah, that's my ultimate. I can crowd control all of them. So yeah, easy right there. Using my ultimate on the Traveler to dash some damage and block the enemies that are outside. Yeah, getting rid of this one will also be my priority, so I'm going to freeze him with Diona, just to be safe. And use another ultimate. There we go. Easy, right there. And what I'm going to do now is put down this, as well as my E on Mona. Yeah, that's just an immense freeze field, so I should be fine right there. I can freeze this guy. Just destroy him with my E. Use my ult again. Yeah, as you can see, it's very easy to spam Mona's abilities, and that's why I'm using the weapon from the Enkanomiya event. Yeah, that's actually a very nice weapon, gives you tons of energy recharges, and yeah, I can just spam my ultimate whenever I want. Freeze this guy over here, freeze the other guy over there. Because they are actually the ones that will destroy your target like in seconds, so be really careful about them. Everyone else is not really a big deal if you're playing safe, but yeah, those guys with the rack in the hand, they're just so annoying. So yeah, that was Floor 11 Chamber 1. Second team definitely benefits a lot from having Mona that can crowd control everyone. And that's just an alternative to Venti. But yeah, if you don't have either Mona or Venti, play it safe with some other Geo characters. For example, Zhongli, because with his burst he can also crowd control enemies. That's another great option. Just bring someone that has some crowd control potential and you'll be completely fine. Okay, moving on to Chamber 2. I'm going to pick Elemental Mastery because I rely a lot on reactions with these teams. And also helps Kazuha give me even more buffs. So let's get started. And as soon as we start, we have one annoying Pyro Abyss Mage, but that's easy because we have tons and tons of things to use at our advantage. For example, my E to swirl, my ultimate, and it's the same if you're using Sakros basically. But yeah, there's not too many enemies to deal with, so nothing crazy right there. And now it's time to shine with pyro damage. And I'm going to use everything because I want to deal with this guy as soon as possible. And he's dead. And these guys also are very annoying. So the most damage I do to them right now, the better. Okay. Now time to deal with this guy. Well, shouldn't be very hard because you can pull him around. And he's not really that tanky anyway. Also going to use my burst here just to be safer. There we go. Thanks, Gooba, for that 35,000 damage. Okay. That was, again, first half nothing crazy, just very few enemies, super easy. And again, second half basically the same thing, but now we have Electro plus Water. And that's why I suggest you bring, well, any cryo character will do, but the more you have the better, because you get the buffs from Resonance, and that's always nice. Also, having Geo, you can do some damage by abusing Shatter. That happens whenever you use Geo on the frozen targets, or you do heavy attack. For example, a plunge attack, or you're using Claymore User, that counts as a heavy attack. So yeah, time to freeze the enemies. I'm in a bubble, which is annoying. So let's use Mona, just to be even more damaging. And my ultimate on the Traveler. There we go. And yeah, he just put on his shield and he, well, doesn't have it anymore, basically. That's why you need cryo. The second half just needs cryo. Mona, just to get even more damage. Let's put down my E. Need to dodge a bit. Use my E for Diona. Okay, and now just last hit with the Traveler. There we go. As you can see, very easy, nothing crazy. Chamber 2, moving on to Chamber 3. And Chamber 3 is where these two teams are going to be harder to use. Maybe not the first one too much, but the second one is going to be a little bit more annoying. But yeah, I think it'll be fine. I'm going to pick again Elemental Mastery, because that's the best I have. Yeah, not a great day for Abyss. And this time we only have 3 minutes to complete both halves. So yeah, okay. I'm going to put down all my abilities as soon as possible, because I want the most damage up front. And there we go. Also, since I'm using Pyro as my main source of damage, and these guys are a bit more resistant to Pyro than any other enemies, yeah, they're gonna take a little bit more hits. Nothing crazy, because I still have tons and tons of damage, and I'm also abusing the Abyssal Moonspire buff with this team, and it's super easy to do. Because yeah, sometimes I see like 30,000 physical damage, which is very nice. Yeah, that was the chamber done in around 50 seconds. I mean, my characters are definitely strong, and I invested a lot of time in them, and you should do too. Having strong characters definitely helps in Abyss. Who would have thought? But yeah, moving on to second half. I have lots of time. I'm going to use Mona's Burst here to keep them frozen and deal even more damage. Using my E whenever I can. Using my Burst. Freezing them again. And that's all of them dealt with. Okay, I'm going to use my ultimate again to crowd control. Freeze them. And freeze them again. Yeah, I'm just going to keep them frozen, because that's the best way. Especially this girl over here. She's so annoying. Freezing these electrocutions, because, well, they can deal a lot of damage. Also, I saw a 50,000 damage from the Abyssal Moonspire buff, which is helpful, definitely very helpful. Time to freeze this girl again, and Shatter. Also put down my ultimate right up there, since she went up there. And I'm going to do a plunge right here. Keep her frozen. Keep her frozen. 20 seconds to work with, but should be more than enough. Yeah, that's Chamber 3. It's harder with this team because it doesn't have a lot of damage, and these guys are very tanky. But yeah, it's doable. If you still cannot clear floor 11, don't worry. Just keep upgrading your characters and your weapons. There's a lot of time to clear this abyss, so don't stress too much. And the challenge is what makes this game mode very fun. So yeah, this is what you should aim for if you're planning on upgrading your characters. Okay, time to move on to floor 12. Let's have a look now at floor 12. And for this floor, as always, there's no leyline disorder. And it's, of course, the most difficult floor of them all. It's also one of the most difficult floors probably in history, let's say, for Genshin. And that's because of these two guys in second half. If you don't have a cryo unit and you cannot maintain your cryo application on these guys, it will be a nightmare. And that's why I suggest you bring a cryo unit for the entire second half of this floor. As for the first half, it's a lot easier, and what I suggest you bring is at least one anemo unit. I suggest bring an anemo unit for both halves, but especially for the first one, because the whopper flowers are very annoying. They love to move around and teleport, and an anemo unit will prevent that by grouping them up. And as always, the challenge for this floor is to kill all the enemies before 3 minutes, and that will reward us with 3 stars. Yeah, for this floor, I suggest you bring the most powerful units you have. And if you have not invested a lot in your units, that's fine. You still have time to improve your score in Abyss. There is no rush. There is still 10 days to, for this Abyss in particular. And it will be available until version 2.7. So you have time to test your builds, your teams. Let's have now a look at my team's recommendations. And again, for first half, what you want is a Hydro player and an anemo unit. And for that, I'm going to use Venti this time, just because it's very useful to have him in this particular situation. But of course, you can use Kazuha, you can use Sucrose, that's completely fine, they work as well. Probably Kazuha and Sucrose are actually better than Venti, because they just give a lot of elemental damage to your party, but I prefer Venti because he has this huge vortex whenever he uses his ultimate, and that's just very useful in this floor in particular. Okay, for first half, this is going to be my team, and as you can see, it's all 5 stars, so it's not very cheap, but there are 2 things that you can change. You can actually change 3 things in this team, and it will still work perfectly. And those are, you can remove Yaemiko and put, for example, Fischl or Beidou, one of the 2, and you can remove Kokomi and put Barbara, because it's basically the same. The only difference between Kokomi and Barbara is just that Kokomi heals more and doesn't need to be on the field a lot of time if you just plan on using her jellyfish, while for Barbara you have to rely on her ultimate to heal efficiently, and you have to stay on the field a lot if you want to use her elemental skill. For second half, this is going to be my team. It's a very cool team idea. It's basically a reverse melt team where you are going to apply a lot of pyro to the enemies, and you're going to deal damage with Rosaria mostly. And turns out Rosaria is actually a very good off-field DPS. Let's start now with floor 12, chamber 1, and this time I'm going to pick 20% attack, because that's always useful. I will just play the game without talking, because it's a different floor, and yeah, this requires a bit of attention. So I'll see you at the end of chamber 1.
But you long gone, it don't matter. Ride or die, that's been the deal. The light of your body got disappear. But if you don't play that for me, I'm out of it, I'm out of it. I lick my gun and then I'm done. I'm out of it, I'm out of it. No man to tell me you're no good. I'm brushing away, do you, the weight of you, of my shoulder. Done with my tell me you're no good. I'm brushing away to you, the weight of you, of my shoulders. Done with my cigarette, and when all the smoke is clear, I'm brushing away to you, the weight of you, the weight of you. Don't need a no man.
Okay, so what just happened? Yes, second half, as you saw, very easy for the first chamber, and yeah, this team deals a ton of damage, as you saw. I was dealing around 40 to 50,000 damage with my Shangling or with Rosaria. Well, in the first half, as you saw, the damage was coming from, well, my Electro units, and Venti helped a lot there to group up those little and annoying potioneers. Okay, moving on to Chamber 2. And this time I finally get a great card, which is a crit rate and crit damage card. Always pick this one, will help you a lot. Unless you're using Kokomi DPS, this is definitely the best card you can use. So this is my choice. And again, I'll be explaining what happened at the end of the run, so I'll see you there.
I was so sure of our love. I never thought of any reason, a doubt about us. And now I'm right back at the start. Halfway through a bottle, baby, nothing to know. I thought that I could keep it low. Take it easy, take it slow. We ended up just like before, so take it easy, take it easy. I thought that I could keep it low. Take it easy, take it slow. We ended up just like before, so take it easy. And you know how to forget all the wrongs and every reason why we've changed. And there's a storm inside my head. It's getting me in trouble, baby, and I can't break away. I thought that I could keep it low. Take it easy, take it slow. We ended up just like before, so take it easy, take it easy.
So that was Chamber 2, and as you saw, I was struggling, and that's because of the second half. Because first half, you have any character that can group up enemies, so Venti, Sucrose, Kazuha, whatever, you're fine. You're completely fine. Those enemies are not threat. And yeah, second half was really hard. Time for Chamber 3. And I got another great card, which is Elemental Burst damage, because a lot of my damage comes from Elemental Burst, especially in second half. And again, I will see you guys when I actually manage to clear this with 3 stars. well, first try, which is nice. And that's chamber 3. As you saw, those two Hydra guys running around with those spin attacks are very annoying, and that's why I suggest you bring at least one cryo unit. Alright, let's wrap it up. My final thoughts on this new Abyss 2.6 are that it's not difficult if you know what you're going against to, and the hardest challenge is going to be dealing with those shields, especially in chamber 2 and 3. So just remember to bring anything that can deal with these elements, and if you have only one animal support, I suggest you use it in first half, because you have to deal with the Whopper flowers, and it will take a lot if you do not group them up. While in second half you can deal with these guys bringing the right elements, which are water and cryo, so you'll be fine with those two elements. If you have any freezing, it will work, you'll be completely fine. For chamber 3, just bring water, at least one water character here, and at least again one cryo unit here. Remember to bring some characters that have CC powers for chamber 1 in Abyss floor 11, because you have to deal with lots of enemies and they will destroy the target in seconds, so just bring someone that has CC. And yeah, that's pretty much the new 2.6 Abyss. And if you have any problems with this Abyss, let me know in the comments and I'll try to help you. Maybe just tweaking your themes or your builds will do. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.
With froze, cold night and the winter hot cold. Sorry that I fall away sometimes. Sorry that I fall away sometimes. Yeah, the end. Got to end it all on the weekend. Sorry that I feel that way sometimes. Sorry that I feel that way sometimes.